I'm Michael Scharf. I'm the Dean at Case Western Reserve University School of Law, and I started my career as an attorney advisor for United Nations Affairs at the U.S. Department of State. I've known Ben Ferencz for 25 years. In fact, he wrote the introduction and helped me get my very first book contract. 17 books later, in the area of international criminal law, I've been focusing on war crimes, crimes against humanity, the crime of aggression, and working with international tribunals around the world and piracy courts in far-flung places like the Seychelles and Mauritius and Kenya. The one thing about the field that I'm in, war crimes, is that unfortunately there's never a shortage. And one of the big challenges for the international community is that every year there's another failed state, another revolution, another international conflict, and it's very important that the perpetrators of war crimes and crimes against humanity and genocide be held responsible. And that will be the challenge for the future. One of the myths of international criminal justice is that by having a war crimes trial, you can facilitate peace and reconciliation in the troubled country. And the reality is that the trials themselves are a bit divisive, and it takes really decades, sometimes generations, for the lessons of those trials to finally have an effect on the population. But that doesn't mean that the trials aren't super important. Without accountability, there can be no deterrent, there can be no education, and the world would be condemned to, in the words of George Santayana, continue to make the same mistakes of the past. The whole field of international criminal law begins with Benjamin Ferencz and his colleagues at Nuremberg. And the legacy is that we would never have international criminal law, human rights law, or any international trials or domestic trials using universal jurisdiction if it wasn't for the precedent set 70 years ago.